Praise be Jesus Christ. That call to Christian perfection, that call that Christ invites us to, to be perfect like our Heavenly Father is perfect. How are we supposed to interpret that? Sometimes we can kind of take the road of saying, I know I'm imperfect. I know I'm not perfect, and I am what I am. And sort of settle into this false humility, this false kind of mediocrity. I know I'm not perfect, and it's just the way it's going to be, and it is what it is, and that's it. We can't really settle for mediocrity. We can't settle for that. But yet at the same time too, we can't somehow put ourselves out there as like holier than thou, those who appear like the holy rollers, those who through like a sort of arrogance or a sort of presumption act as if they have everything together and wind up many times turning others away from Christ and his church. So what does it mean to look at the path of Christian perfection, to be perfect as our Heavenly Father is perfect? And I'd propose like the classical 3 stages of the spiritual life. This is something that like the great doctors of the church, like Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross, St. Bernard of Clairvaux, St. Francis de Sales, they all propose this. And what is it? It's the 3 stages are the purgative way, the illuminative way, and the unitive way. So like just when you're like a little kid and your parents try to help you and protect you, if you put your hand too close to the stove, they'll smack it so you don't hurt yourself. If you try to play in the streets, they'll yell at you so you don't get hit by a car and die. Sometimes God in the beginning of the spiritual life has to act like that, like a parent who's talking to a little kid to protect them and to wake them up to great spiritual dangers. That's like the purgative way. It's where we have the hell scared out of us, if you will. It's where we make the resolution to begin the spiritual life by making the resolution to not commit mortal sin, to turn away from those things which lead to spiritual death, which is real, to wake us up to the reality of hell, which calls man to responsibility for his actions which have eternal consequences. So in the purgative way, we're purified of these attachments we have to sin, to earthly things. In the purgative way, we're called to definitively resolve to turn to the Lord and away from everything else that leads us away from him. We go from the purgative way to the illuminative way when we reach a sort of stability. We're not just kind of kicking like crazy people in the middle of the ocean trying to keep our heads above water from drowning. We reach a sort of stability. There's a sort of stability. There's a sort of baseline of virtue there in the illuminative way. And then finally in the unitive way, which is the high point of the spiritual life, the highest stage of the spiritual life, we are able to relate to God as sons and daughters. I think of like great saints like Saint Mother Teresa, who purified in such a particularly unique and intense way, was able to depend on God for everything. Like she couldn't even trust her own interior life to an extent, like great darkness she experienced, how she was purified like gold in the fire. And Saint Mother Teresa, though, who was able to relate to God as this beloved daughter, with this total confidence, this total trust, all out of this burning desire to satiate the thirst of Jesus on the cross. Talk about like a beautiful way of loving God like a father, as a son or a daughter. Saint Mother Teresa shows that in such a powerful way. It's kind of like when you grow up from being a little kid, you're able to talk to your mom and dad, definitely not in the same way you did as a little infant. They're not smacking your hand anymore or yelling at you for playing in the street. At least I hope not. But as an adult, when you talk to your parents, you're able to love them and to relate to them on a higher level. It's not like they're not your mom and dad anymore. It's not like that basic respect that you had as a little kid somehow disappears, but you're able to relate to them on a whole different level. And that's the way it's meant to be in a sense with the spiritual life as well, the way we relate to God. So that call to Christian perfection, there's like a real hermeneutic of continuity. There's a real organic development in that, and we're called to set out on that path of Christian perfection because, it's like they say, if you aim for the moon, you miss, you wind up among the stars. Well, if we just try to live the spiritual life hoping we could scrape our way to get to purgatory, if we miss that, we're in a lot of trouble. It's really heaven or hell, it's saints or nothing. That's what the spiritual life is all about, and that's what each and every one of us, priest, bishop, religious, lay people, mom, dad, husband, wife, that's what each and every one of us is called to. God bless you.